Hey everybody, welcome to this video. I wanted to talk today about taking care of your sensitive nervous system, particularly because this has been very relevant for me this week. If you haven't been here before, my name is Carissa Conrad and I'm a doctor of physical therapy and a therapeutic pain specialist, and I am the vagus nerve PT. For those of us who have dealt with conditions like long COVID or chronic fatigue syndrome, or who have other chronic health conditions where a dysautonomia or a dysregulated nervous system is a core component, we often have sensitive nervous systems. We often have always had sensitive nervous systems. I know for myself, as a young child, I struggled with loud noises. I remember 4th of July was just the worst, my least favorite holiday. I remember standing, at the party that we used to go to every year with my hands over my ears when they would light off fireworks, and then my dad's hands over top of my ears trying to hold so that I didn't get startled from the fireworks sound. I used to hate arches in my shoes. Remember Keds were really popular like in the 90s, and they had a big arch in them, and it just used to drive me crazy. Tags in my clothes, just all these things that I struggled to tolerate as a young kid. And moving on into adulthood, some of those things settled down as I got older, but I still don't like loud noises. I still, I'm not going to be the person typically that has the music turned up really loud in my car, or unless I really like the song and it's like a early 2000s hip hop, from my high school days. But even then, I probably won't have the song turned up too loud the whole time. And after I had my children, I love them so much. I was challenged by the noise and the constant movement and, just the demand, right? It felt like a constant demand on my nervous system. And so, and this is something, that I talk with my coaching clients about time and again, when we're working on recovering from long COVID or chronic fatigue syndrome or other health conditions. It's really learning about your own nervous system that really is the core piece that's going to launch you forward in your recovery. It's understanding the cues that your nervous system is giving you, listening to those cues, and doing something about the overload. And this is something that keeps going, right? Even after recovery, at this point, I can do my life, I do everything that I want to do, and my nervous system is still sensitive. It was before I got sick. It will continue to be. And so like I said, particularly this week, I've been challenged in this area. It's as though I think I choose in many ways when it's time for me to learn something big. And this week has been, I kind of said, all right, I'm ready to know, what is still going on? Why am I still, why do I still get overloaded sometimes? Or, and it's not like it was when I had long COVID. But my body gives me signs, that I have kind of had enough, that my nervous system has kind of had enough. And that has meant really learning how to speak my needs in a new way. And I love that language, really speaking your needs, learning how to meet your own needs, rather than expecting the people around me to cater to my nervous system sensitivity. It's me learning about my own body and then letting people know what works for me and what doesn't work for me, what's working for my nervous system in a given moment and what isn't. And that can mean having some hard conversations with people that I really care about. And I've had some of those. I've had some of those really hard conversations this last week with people that I really care about, just letting them know, I know that this is something that's important to you. It's challenging for my nervous system. How can we make this work? What can we do differently? Because I care about this relationship that will allow me to stay healthy and to have improved tolerance within my own nervous system and be able to expand that tolerance, because our nervous systems can't heal if they're being constantly bombarded by input, right? And so, like I said, that's led to some really interesting conversations, some challenging conversations. And the other piece to it is, just learning what can I do that increases my tolerance. And I have, my two wonderful children, and they have been sick this week. It has been a rough one. My son started getting sick on Christmas Day, and then right after that, my daughter got it, right, within a few days, and they are both feeling crummy. And, so there's an increase in demand on me. And how do I balance that? How do I still take care of myself? And, and that's when I will reach for my vagus nerve stimulation more often, right? To keep my nervous system regulated. I just sat outside before, this is probably like my fourth or fifth attempt at recording this video today, because I was sitting outside with my son on the ground who was having a meltdown because his sister got sneaker balls, which are these little balls that you put in your shoes that make your shoes smell better. I don't know how, somehow my daughter got these for Christmas, and nobody bought any for my 5-year-old son. He is displeased. And, I was sitting with him on the ground, and he's screaming, and I literally was like, this is really bothering my nervous system. You're screaming. If you need to scream, I need you to go in a room and close the door and scream until you're done screaming. And it took a few times of saying that, and thankfully he's 5 now, and he knows that this is the way that I speak to him a lot. My kids know if I say, this is bothering my nervous system, that they best start to shift, because they know, like, this is part of being in a family, that we have to respect each other when our nervous systems are being overloaded. But, and then it's like, well, we're not going to do TV time if this continues. But he did stop, he did stop. And that kind of language is something, that I would like to teach my kids as well. So I use that with them. But, it's funny. I was thinking today, I had all these things I wanted to do. I've got, my kids are sick. I've got a house that I need to clear out. I've got tons of stuff that I've got to get rid of, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I get all that done? And I've got and I wanted to record a video, and I was thinking about what I want to record, and I want to make sure that it's relevant and that people are getting something out of it. And, and I'm thinking about plans I have later with my guy. And I was thinking about, okay, and then I got to figure out what I'm going to wear. And just suddenly going, you know what? I'm going to wear sweats tonight, which is not something I usually do. Usually I dress up. I like to wear dresses and heels and whatever. And I texted him and I said, I'm going to wear sweats tonight. And I said, this is part of my whole thing of learning to increase my capacity. Where can I make a little change that for today, that is going to increase my nervous system's capacity for all the other things that I have going on. And as soon as I made that decision and let him know that I was going to wear sweatpants tonight, which of course he's like, okay, that's fine. My body went, oh, right? Because that's part of it, is learning to listen to the cues that my body was giving me. And I was feeling that tension. I was feeling tension in my body. I had tightened up. I was feeling overwhelmed. My thoughts were starting to race, right? These are those cues that your nervous system is giving you that you might need to take a look at where you can take something off your plate. And it's hard because we don't always have the option, right? And we can't always make the choice that we want to make. Like, I would much rather just be able to go in my room for the afternoon and meditate and like take a bath, or something very relaxing like that, and then get really dressed up tonight and go have fun. I don't have that option at the moment. I've got sick kids. I've got other things I've got to do today. So it was looking at it saying, where can I take something off my plate? And it might sound silly, but just the idea of being able to say, I can just not have to wear uncomfortable clothes, that took a piece out of my nervous system, that was making it feel overloaded. And so sometimes it can be looking for something small like that. And sometimes it's something huge, like having those really hard conversations with somebody and saying, we have to make some big changes because I need to create a different structure here that allows me to get my needs met. So I hope that resonates with some of you. And like I said, having that, the vagus nerve stimulation as one of my tools to help me regulate is wonderful. I use it all the time. And it's both and I say that a lot on this channel, right? It's both using the tools to regulate my nervous system and learning how to get my needs met, how to voice them how to listen to the cues my body is giving me sooner so that I'm not trying to push through something, and then learning how to communicate that need to the people around me when I need to, in a way that's non-confrontational, that doesn't create a problem, but is more about problem solving together, in order to meet the needs of my nervous system. And so those are skills that are relevant when you are dealing with long COVID or chronic fatigue syndrome or a chronic health condition, and after you recover. These are life skills that, a lot of us weren't taught when we were kids, and we're figuring it out now as we go. And if you want a structured way to begin vagus nerve stimulation safely, my recovery course is available, and we'll walk you through it step by step. So I will link a description, or link that in the description for this video as well. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of this community, going on this journey with me. Let me know what other content you want to hear, and what else has helped you. And if you've learned something about, regulating your nervous system that you want to share, please do share it with us. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.